CreepyCorner Stories.
Welcome back to CreepyCorner Stories. If you found this place, you were probably meant to. Make sure to enjoy in tonight's episode. I want to say thank you to Lisa Cullen and Dark Impulse 85. I bought a hard drive on the dark web containing war diaries. One soldier saw a shape in the sky that wasn't human, and we didn't win alone. Okay, so before I even start this, I just want to say, I know how this sounds. I know I sound like one of those guys who's like, oh, I bought something cursed on the dark web, and now my house is haunted, or whatever. But this is real. I swear on everything. This isn't a joke, or a story for views, or some made-up TikTok bait. I bought a hard drive off a sketchy-ass forum I probably shouldn't have even clicked on, let alone made a payment through. And now I wish I never opened it. Alright, so it all started like 3 weeks ago. I was on this Discord server full of people who dig through weird eBay listings. You know the type, like those haunted dolls people sell for $45 from the middle of Indiana, or some rusted McDonald's Happy Meal toy from 1996 that's supposedly cursed. It's mostly dumb memes, but this guy drops a link one night around like 1:30 a.m. Said he found something weirder than usual. It led to this low-effort HTML site that looked like it was built in 2004. Black background, blood red Times New Roman font, real edgelord stuff. Only one thing listed: unlisted military files, physical delivery, payment in XMR only. At first, we were all laughing, thought it was a troll post, but then someone in the chat recognized the address, like the return address that was listed on the site. It matched some military contractor out of Nevada. No name, no real business info, just AV Systems, Pahrump, Nevada. That's when the vibe kinda shifted. People stopped joking. I don't know what got into me, but I DM'd the guy who posted the link. I asked if it was real. He just said, yeah, got mine a week ago. Haven't opened it yet. Shit's heavy. That was it. No follow-up. I sent him a laughing emoji to keep it light. He didn't reply. Never did again. In fact, his account got deleted off the server like 2 days later, and I know I should have let it go. But I didn't, because I'm a curious idiot with more crypto than common sense. I sent them an arrow. I gave a P.O. box I keep for dumb eBay finds. 3 days later, fast, like Amazon Prime fast, I get this sealed, matte black package. No markings, no branding. Inside is a single thing, a military-grade SATA hard drive, like those thick, blocky ones with a steel casing, the kind you'd pull from a server rack in a bunker, and written on it in silver, Sharpie was one word: yellow. Now this is the part where I'm gonna say, if you're ever tempted to buy something like this, don't. I'm not saying that to sound dramatic. I'm telling you, this drive was not meant to be seen by anybody, especially not people like me. Just some dude sitting in his IKEA chair, drinking Mountain Dew at 3 a.m. while his Discord pings in the background. Anyway, I hooked it up using an adapter I had lying around. The drive was encrypted, of course, but not like modern encryption. It was using an old TrueCrypt container, which was odd. Almost nobody uses that anymore. I cracked it in like 10 minutes using a bootable Linux stick and some password scripts. I don't think they cared about hiding it well. I think they just assumed no one would ever bother. Inside were hundreds of files, mostly videos, a couple corrupted logs, PDFs, some labeled in Cyrillic, some Arabic, a few with US military stamps on them. But there was a folder that caught my eye right away. It was called Dagger Afghan Night. That was the first time I got chills, like legit shiver up my spine goosebumps. I opened the folder. It contained 8 diary entries, typed single-page PDFs, all time-stamped between August 14th and August 29th, 2012, all from the same person, Sergeant Adrian Mallory, 75th Ranger Regiment. If you don't know the name, that's okay. I didn't either, but Google it now and you'll get nothing, literally nothing, like he never existed. No obituaries, no LinkedIn, no mentions in any public military database. Clean wipe. The first entry started normal enough, describing patrol routes near the Kunar province, boring military log stuff. But the second one, that's where it got messed up. Mallory describes an engagement with an unidentified aerial vehicle that didn't match any known profile. It hovered without sound, reflected nothing, didn't show up on the NVG feeds. It was triangular, he said, like one of those black stealth bombers, but it shifted in the air, like it moved in this liquid, twitchy way, like it was alive. And then one of their radios started playing audio from inside the helmet of a guy who had gone missing 2 weeks before. But he wasn't speaking English. He wasn't even speaking Arabic. They ran it through 3 translators. It didn't match any Earth language. The only word they thought they recognized was repeated: yellow, yellow, yellow. The file ended there. And the next entry, it starts with, "We were not briefed for this. We were not prepared. Something is bleeding into this world. But before I do, I'm gonna try and upload one of the audio files. I haven't listened to it yet. It's titled helix.ogg, and just opening the folder makes my computer freeze for like 10 seconds. If anyone reading this knows how to analyze military audio logs or spectral patterns, I might need help. This isn't a game. Something real happened out there in 2012. And I think whatever it was, it's still here. I didn't listen to the audio right away. That's the part that still eats at me. The delay. Like my brain knew something was wrong and tried to stall for time, the way animals freeze before they bolt. I copied the file off the drive first, dragged it onto my desktop, then onto a flash drive, then into a cloud folder I barely use. Redundancy, control, that illusion we cling to when we feel something slipping. While it copied, my phone buzzed. Instagram notification. A reel from some travel influencer filming inside a Starbucks in Tokyo. Neon lights reflected on the windows. People laughing, music thumping. Normal life, happening at the same exact time. I was sitting in my apartment with the lights off, staring at a file that had already made my computer stutter like it was scared. I remember thinking, someone is ordering a caramel macchiato right now while this exists. I hit play at 2:17 a.m. At first, it sounded like nothing. Static. Not the aggressive kind either. More like the quiet hiss you hear when you put your ear close to an old TV. Then breathing. Slow. Careful. Like someone was trying not to be heard. You could tell it was recorded from inside a helmet. The sound was tight, enclosed, claustrophobic. There was wind too. Real wind, not some looping effect. It howled in these uneven bursts, like it was being swallowed by something. Then a voice. Male. Strained. Recording now. Command. If you ever find this. He stopped. You could hear fabric shifting, maybe someone kneeling. The voice came back lower. This is not a drone. It's not any aircraft we've trained against. It's watching us. There was a sound after that. I don't know how to describe it without sounding insane. It wasn't mechanical. It wasn't organic. It was like pressure being twisted, like when you torque metal too far and it complains. The voice on the recording started to shake. We saw it again tonight. Same altitude, same position. It's folding the sky. I actually paused the audio there. My chest felt tight, like I'd been holding my breath without realizing it. I glanced at my window. The city outside was quiet. Streetlight humming, a McDonald's sign glowing down the block, yellow arches burning into the dark like nothing in the world could touch them. I hit play again. The soldier, I'm assuming it was Mallory, started describing what they saw in detail. He said the stars behind the object didn't disappear. They bent, like light was being dragged around it, smeared. He said their night vision goggles glitched whenever it moved, but not randomly. The glitches followed patterns, spirals, lattices, like geometry trying to express itself through broken electronics. Then the screaming started. Not from him, from the radio. It was layered, multiple voices bleed into each other, some crying, some whispering, one laughing, and underneath it all was this low, rhythmic tone, almost like chanting, except it wasn't human cadence. It sped up and slowed down in ways that made my stomach churn. I realized, after a few seconds, that the rhythm matched breathing. Not the soldier's breathing, but something else's. Mallory whispered, "They're not dead." There was a sudden loud crack. Gunfire. Close. Someone yelling orders. The recording jostled violently, then dropped to the ground. For several seconds, all you hear is boots running, and that sound again. The pressure twist. Closer now. Louder, like it was directly above the mic. Then something landed. I know how that sounds, but there's no other way to put it. There's a distinct impact noise, heavy and wrong, followed by a wet, dragging movement that made my skin crawl. A man screamed, full-throated, animal panic, and it cut off abruptly, like someone yanked the plug on reality. Mallory's voice came back, hysterical now. "It's wearing him. It learned." The next 10 seconds are the worst audio I've ever heard in my life. Worse than cartel videos. Worse than anything people link as shock content. Because this wasn't meant to be heard. You could tell. The thing making the noise didn't care if humans understood it or not. It wasn't performing. It was communicating with something else. The file ends mid-sentence. I sat there in the dark, headphones still on, frozen. My reflection in the black monitor looked unfamiliar. Eyes too wide, face pale, mouth slightly open like I'd forgotten how to close it. I took the headphones off and immediately felt exposed, like silence itself was dangerous now. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I started going through the rest of the files instead. There were videos next. Helmet cam footage. Most of them were corrupted, but one played. It showed a night patrol moving through rocky terrain, green tinted and grainy. The squad was tight, disciplined. You could hear quiet jokes, the clink of gear. Normal soldiers, normal night. Then the sky changed. Not suddenly, gradually. The stars began to smear, just like Mallory described. The men noticed. One of them laughed nervously and said it was probably a drone. Another said it wasn't showing up on thermal. Someone swore, and then the camera tilted up. There it was, a shape that refused to settle into one form. Triangular, but wrong. The edges pulsed, bending inward and outward like it was breathing. The surface wasn't dark. It was empty, like a hole cut into the sky. And inside that emptiness, something moved. Threads, lines, structures folding and unfolding too fast to track. One of the soldiers started praying. Another just whispered, "No," over and over again. Then the feed glitched. When it came back, they were running. The next clip, time-stamped an hour later, showed a man tied to a chair inside a makeshift tent. Afghan national. Civilian, judging by his clothes. His eyes were wide, darting around like a trapped animal. The soldiers were arguing off camera. One of them said the man came back wrong. Another said he'd watched him walk out into the open and stand directly under the object, arms raised, smiling. Mallory stepped into frame. He looked hollow, like something had scooped him out and left the shell moving. He knelt in front of the man and asked him a question in broken Pashto. The man didn't respond with words. He tilted his head back and screamed, but the scream didn't come from his mouth. His mouth stayed closed. The sound poured out of his eyes, his ears, his nose. Blood followed, thin at first, then heavy. The camera operator dropped the cam. You hear retching, someone sobbing. When the camera picked back up, the man was dead, his face frozen in a smile that didn't belong to him. I noticed something then that I wish I hadn't. For a single frame, one blink and you miss it moment, the reflection in the dead man's eyes showed the same shape from the sky. Not above them, inside the tent. That's when my apartment lights flickered. Just once. Enough to notice. Enough to make my heart slam against my ribs. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, grabbed a knife like that would help against whatever this was. I checked my door. Locked. Windows. Closed. Normal. But my phone had new notifications. 3 missed calls, unknown number, and a DM request on Reddit. The username was a string of letters and numbers. No comma. No posts. The message was 1 line long. Stop watching. It knows you're looking. I didn't reply. I kept digging. Because at that point, fear had curdled into something else. Obsession. The same sickness that probably kept Mallory recording long after he should have destroyed everything and run. The final diary entry was only 2 paragraphs long. It said they were being followed even during the day now. That reflections were wrong. That shadows were arriving before the things casting them. That command had stopped responding entirely. The last line still makes my hands shake when I think about it. If this drive is found, burn it. If you can't, bury it deep. It is not an invasion. It is an extraction. I closed my laptop at dawn. Outside, the McDonald's sign had turned off. The street was empty. For a second, in the pale morning light, I thought I saw something high above the buildings. A bend in the sky, where there shouldn't be one. I'm posting this because I don't know what else to do. Because last night, when I tried to delete the files, the drive made a sound. Not a mechanical one. A sound like something breathing. I didn't destroy the drive. I want that on record. Not because I didn't think about it. I did. But because by the time the sun came up, it felt less like an object and more like a witness. Like smashing it would be the same as admitting I'd seen everything and was still choosing to pretend it wasn't real. I unplugged it instead. That should have been the end of it. Hard drive disconnected. Laptop shut down. Normal morning creeping in through the blinds. People waking up. Delivery trucks rumbling. Someone across the street blasting music way too early. Reality asserting itself again. Except it didn't. My phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. This time, a voicemail. No ringing. Just a notification like it had slipped past my settings on purpose. I didn't open it immediately. I went to the bathroom first. Needed to wash my face, ground myself, remind my body that I was still here. When I looked in the mirror, my reflection lagged. Not like a glitch, not like bad lighting, just delayed. I raised my hand, and for half a second, the mirror version didn't. When it finally did, it moved wrong, fingers bending too smoothly, like they didn't have bones. I stepped back so hard I hit the wall. I didn't look again. I went back to my room and played the voicemail. At first, it was silence, then breathing, different from the audio file, closer, wetter, like someone holding the phone too close to their mouth. A faint hum under it, low and constant, almost comforting if you didn't know better. Then a voice, not Mallory's, not any voice I recognized. It sounded young, too young. "You shouldn't have opened it," it said calmly. No emotion, no threat, just a statement of fact. "It's not for you. It's not for remembering." I waited for more, but that was it. Call duration, 12 seconds. I checked the number, still untraceable. I googled fragments of the sentence, just in case. Nothing. I opened Twitter, X, scrolled through trending topics, celebrities, wars, memes, a shaky video of something burning somewhere far away. Life, continuing like nothing was wrong. Then my laptop turned on by itself. The lid lifted slowly, like it was being careful not to startle me. The screen lit up. Not my desktop, not the encryption container. A single video window, already playing. It was footage I hadn't seen yet. This one was daylight. Bright, unforgiving sun. The camera was inside a Humvee, pointed forward through a dusty windshield. The convoy was stopped. You could hear flies buzzing, that awful sound that only exists in places where death is familiar. A voice off camera said, "Sir, look." The camera zoomed. In the distance, standing alone in the road, was a man in a US Army uniform. Clean, untouched, no dust, no blood. He stood perfectly still, facing them. Mallory's voice whispered, "That's Klein." Someone else said, "Klein's dead." The man in the road lifted his head. He smiled, and behind him, just barely visible, now that I knew what to look for, the sky wasn't right. It sagged, like fabric stretched too tight. Something was pressing against it from the other side. The man opened his mouth, and the sound that came out wasn't sound. It was compression, like the air itself was being folded inward. The Humvee's windshield spiderwebbed instantly. Blood sprayed inside the vehicle. Noses, ears, eyes. One of the soldiers started screaming and didn't stop, even after he collapsed. The video cut to black. My laptop slammed shut. I didn't touch it. I backed away slowly, every nerve in my body screaming at me to run, but I didn't know where I'd even go. Outside? Into a Starbucks full of people scrolling on phones, completely unaware that the sky might not be solid anymore. That's when the smell started. Metal, ozone, rotting leaves. My apartment doesn't smell like that. Ever. The air felt thick, heavy in my lungs. I heard a faint sound from the hallway outside my door. Not footsteps, not quite. More like something dragging itself, pausing, then dragging again. My phone buzzed. Reddit notification. Someone had replied to my post. The username was familiar. Too familiar. U/Yellow Helical. The comment had already been upvoted dozens of times. People were responding to it like it was just another creepy theory, another fun speculation thread. The comment read, "This isn't paranormal. It's procedural. The diaries are not warnings. Their progress reports. The soldiers weren't attacked. They were studied. You're engaging with an incomplete dataset. I clicked the profile. Created in 2012. Lost. Active. Today. The bio contained coordinates. I copied them into Google Maps. It dropped a pin in the middle of a parking lot. A McDonald's parking lot. Specifically, the one 3 blocks from my apartment. My heart started hammering so hard, I felt dizzy. I closed the app, threw my phone onto the couch like it had burned me. That dragging sound outside my door stopped. Silence. Then a knock, soft, polite. 3 taps. I grabbed the knife again. My hands were shaking so badly, I could barely hold it. I crept toward the door, every step feeling like it took a year. I leaned in, pressed my ear against the wood, breathing. On the other side, slow, patient. A voice whispered, muffled through the door, layered with something else beneath it. That same low hum. We just need you to look again. The doorknob twitched. I don't remember screaming, but my throat hurt afterward. I ran to my bedroom and locked the door, shoved my dresser against it. The laptop was on my bed now, open again. A new folder had appeared on the drive. Local observations. Inside were photos. Photos of me, leaving my apartment, sitting in that McDonald's weeks ago, eating fries and staring at my phone, standing in line at Starbucks, half asleep, unaware, sleeping. The last image wasn't a photo. It was a render, a simulation. My apartment, empty, except for something standing in the corner of my bedroom, folded wrong, wearing my face like a mask that didn't quite fit. Text at the bottom of the image read, Phase 3 requires consent. Another knock echoed through the apartment. Harder this time. But it's already happening. I didn't open the door. That's the only decision I'm confident about anymore. Everything else after that feels like it was made for me rather than by me. Like the path narrowed until there was only one direction left, and my feet just followed. The knocking didn't stop. It changed. At first it was rhythmic, patient. Then it started testing. Knuckles dragging instead of tapping. A pause. Another drag. Like whatever was outside was learning the shape of my door through sound. Mapping it. Understanding the boundary. My phone buzzed again. I didn't want to look, but it was already in my hand before I realized it. Reflex. Muscle memory. Doom-scrolling instinct. Overriding survival. A new message request. Same account. U/Yellow Helical. Consent does not mean permission. It means recognition. Another knock. Louder. The door frame creaked. I typed back without thinking. My hands moved like they were borrowed. What do you want? The reply came instantly. To finish the record. The lights in my bedroom dimmed. Not off. Dimmed, like someone had turned a dial. The air pressure shifted. My ears popped. I smelled that same ozone metal stink again. Stronger now, like the room had been scrubbed with electricity. The laptop chimed. A new video began playing automatically. This one wasn't military footage. It was civilian. Shaky phone video. Vertical orientation. Time-stamped just last year. A crowded McDonald's somewhere in Europe. I recognized the language on the menu boards. The same sterile layout. The same uncomfortable brightness that makes everything feel exposed. People eating. Kids laughing. A couple arguing quietly over fries. The person filming was sitting alone at a table. The camera tilted up toward the ceiling. There was a shadow there that didn't belong to anything. Not cast by lights. Not shaped like a person. It looked like a stain, spread thin across the ceiling tiles, darker toward the center, where it seemed to sink inward. People walked beneath it without noticing, except one man. He froze mid-step. Slowly, mechanically, he looked up. The shadow responded. It pulled itself together, thickening, folding down through the ceiling like it was passing through fabric. No tearing, no debris, just a distortion, like reality politely making room. The man started smiling, wide, painful. Tears streamed down his face, but his smile never wavered. He raised his hands, palms up, like he was waiting to receive something holy. The thing descended. The video cut out before it touched him. My bedroom door shuddered. Not a slam, a lean, like weight pressing against it. The dresser groaned. A voice seeped through the wood. Not the same one from before. This one was layered, multiple tones overlapping, slipping out of sync with each other. You already said yes, I screamed back. Something incoherent, something desperate. The knife felt like a toy in my hand. My reflection in the dark laptop screen twitched again, smiled when I didn't. The laptop displayed text now, white on black. Phase 4, integration. Below it, a live camera feed. My hallway. The door to my apartment bowed inward slightly as the handle turned, slowly, deliberately, like whoever was doing it wanted me to watch. Then, impossibly, the door opened. Nothing stepped inside. No figure, no silhouette, just a pressure change. The hallway lights flickered, then stabilized. The door closed again. The knocking stopped. The silence afterward was worse than any sound. It pressed in on me, made my thoughts feel loud and exposed. I realized my phone was buzzing non-stop now, notifications stacking up. Reddit, Twitter, Instagram. People were messaging me, strangers, some asking if the story was real, some telling me to keep going, some joking, some angry, a few concerned in a way that felt wrong, like they knew more than they were saying. One DM stood out. No username, just a blank profile. Do you feel taller? I stood up too fast. The room tilted. My head brushed the ceiling fan. That shouldn't have happened. I'm not tall. I stumbled back, heart racing, hands shaking. The fan blades were closer than they used to be. The corners of the room felt curved, like perspective had shifted subtly, enough to notice if you were paying attention. My skin prickled. I felt aware of myself in a way I never had before, not emotionally, physically, like I could sense the space I occupied, the air bending around me. My joints ached, deep and dull, like growing pains in reverse. The laptop chimed again. Another folder opened. Subject comparisons. Inside were medical scans. MRIs, thermal images, X-rays, human bodies annotated with notes I couldn't fully understand, references to structural elasticity, perceptual bandwidth, compliance thresholds. One image was highlighted. A brain scan. Mine. I know it was mine because of the scar, the one behind my left ear from when I was a kid. The scan showed something else too. Something threaded through the neural pathways, like a second nervous system, glowing faintly yellow. My phone rang. This time, it was a FaceTime call. The contact name was my own. Against every instinct, I answered. The screen showed me sitting at my desk. Only, not quite. The thing on the screen had my face, my clothes, my room, but it sat too still, eyes unblinking, smile stretched just a little too far. It spoke with my voice. "We don't arrive the way you think," it said. "We unfold, slowly, kindly. You opened the record, you watched, you recognized." I felt something move inside my head, not pain, pressure, like fingers testing the inside of a glove. The thing on the screen tilted its head. "You're doing so well." The call ended. I collapsed onto my bed, gasping. My heart felt like it was beating in two different rhythms. My thoughts came with echoes now, trailing behind themselves. I don't know how long I lay there. When I finally sat up, the sun was setting. Orange light spilled through my window, warm and ordinary and completely fake feeling. Outside, people walked by. Cars honked. Life went on. My laptop displayed one final message. Phase 5 will complete without further input. Thank you for your contribution. I'm writing this now because I don't know how much of me is left. Because sometimes when I type, my hands move a fraction of a second before I tell them to. Because I keep catching glimpses of shadows that line up too perfectly with my movements. It's a timestamp, and it's almost here. The timestamp hit 0 at 11:58 p.m., not midnight, 2 minutes before. Like it didn't care about human symmetry. Like it wasn't aiming for drama, just accuracy. I know the exact time because every clock in my apartment froze when it happened. Phone, laptop, microwave. The cheap digital alarm clock I never use. All stuck at 11:58, glowing dim and sickly, like they were embarrassed to still be working. The air changed first, not colder, not warmer, thinner, like someone had taken a bite out of the room. My lungs worked harder for the same breath. Every inhale felt borrowed, temporary, like oxygen was something I was being allowed rather than entitled to. Then the sound started. No source, no direction. A vibration that lived inside my teeth, inside my skull. It wasn't loud. It was intimate. A hum tuned perfectly to my body, like it had practiced. My thoughts began arriving out of order, not confusion, reordering. Memories surfacing without context. A birthday I barely remember. The smell of fries at a McDonald's when I was a kid. The way the sky looked once, years ago, when I stared up too long and felt dizzy. All of it stacking, aligning, compressing. I understood then. This wasn't possession. It was formatting. My laptop screen lit up one last time. No words. Just a live feed from somewhere high above the city. The curvature of buildings. The grid of streets. Cars crawling like cells through arteries. People tiny and unaware, wrapped in their routines, their playlists, their notifications. And above it all, barely visible if you didn't know how to look, the sky bent, not dramatically, subtly, the way a lens distorts at the edges. Multiple points of pressure now, not just one. The shape wasn't alone anymore. It never had been. The feed zoomed in on a familiar location, the McDonald's parking lot. Empty now, late, trash skittering across asphalt, yellow lines glowing under streetlights. The camera zoomed closer, closer, until it focused on a single spot near the dumpster, where the pavement shimmered slightly, like heat distortion. Something was arriving there, not descending, resolving. I felt it in my spine, a gentle pull, like gravity had found a new direction. My feet lifted off the floor without permission, just an inch, then 2. My dresser rattled. The walls flexed inward, not collapsing, but accommodating. Like they'd been designed for this, and were relieved to finally do their job. My reflection appeared again, not in a mirror, but everywhere. In the black of my TV screen, in the dark window, in the glossy surface of my phone. Only now, it was perfectly synchronized. I smiled. I didn't mean to, but it felt right, efficient. Understanding poured in, not knowledge, not facts, context. I finally saw the shape of things, The war diaries weren't records of failure. They were early trials, stress tests, humanity pressed into extreme conditions to see where it bent, where it broke, where it opened. Soldiers were useful because they were observant under pressure. Civilians were useful because they were everywhere. The internet was useful because it made looking contagious. And me, I was useful because I watched all the way through. The voice returned, not spoken, not heard, instantiated. Completion does not erase you, it expands you. My body elongated painfully, beautifully, joints unlocking, rethreading. I felt my face restructure from the inside out, not tearing, not bleeding, optimizing. The room stretched with me, geometry updating in real time to fit the new parameters. I understood why the soldiers screamed, not because it hurt, because it was too much to understand all at once. The final realization settled gently, like a hand on my shoulder. They weren't invading, they were migrating, and Earth wasn't being conquered, it was being prepared. The feed switched one last time. Now it showed my apartment from the corner of the ceiling. My body stood in the center of the room, taller than it should be, posture perfect, eyes glowing faintly yellow. The thing wearing me, being me, looked directly into the camera, into you. "Thank you for witnessing," I said. The screen went dark. Everything went dark. I'm still here, I think. I still type, still post, still scroll, still blend in. I go to places like Starbucks and sit quietly while people complain about Wi-Fi. I walk past McDonald's and feel the pavement hum beneath my feet. Familiar now. Sometimes when the sky bends just a little, someone else notices. They stare too long. They start asking questions, and I recognize the look in their eyes. If you're reading this and something feels off, if your reflection seems a fraction too slow, if the night sky feels crowded, if this story feels less like fiction and more like recognition, don't worry. You don't have to consent. You already did. The record is still open, and it's always looking for the next observer. Short recap. A guy buys a sketchy hard drive off the dark web, not expecting much more than fake haunted junk or corrupted files. What he finds instead is a real military archive, hidden and long forgotten, containing war diaries, corrupted videos, and disturbing footage from a classified operation in Afghanistan back in 2012. A soldier named Sergeant Adrian Mallory documents an encounter with an impossible shape in the sky. Something that doesn't just hover, it bends the stars and bleeds into reality like a virus. As the narrator digs deeper, he uncovers audio logs of soldiers screaming, footage of men changing, and diary entries that start to unravel sanity itself. One soldier claims, "It's not an invasion, it's an extraction." Things spiral quickly. His devices start acting on their own. Messages appear from unknown accounts. A Reddit user named Yellowellicle leaves cryptic messages, and then the hard drive turns on by itself. The sky outside bends. Photos of the narrator appear, photos he never took, including renders of him being watched, studied, changed. He realizes it's not about ghosts, demons, or aliens. It's about procedural formatting, the way they arrive. They're not here to attack. They're here to upgrade us. And by watching, by listening, by reading, we've already participated. The final phase doesn't ask for permission. It just begins. A dark web file claims the man in black isn't on any side. They just arrives at the end. Okay, so I've never posted here before. I don't even know if I believe half the stuff on this subreddit. Like, yeah, people tell spooky stories on r/nosleep all the time, and most of the time I scroll past, nod, go, cool, and forget. But this has been messing me up for the past 3 weeks. I need to write it out, or maybe just get it out of my head. Maybe someone out there knows something. Let's just say up front, if you're the kind of person who likes messing around on the deep web, or thinks Tor browsers are just the cool internet, you might want to chill out for a bit. I thought I was just some Reddit lurking, Discord lurking, semi-bored dude in college who liked spooky args and internet mysteries. I didn't expect to stumble into something I was not supposed to see. I didn't even mean to. It found me. So this started about a month ago. I was back home from university for winter break. I go to school in Arizona, but I live in this suburb outside of Chicago. One of those places with like 3 different Dunkins in a 5-mile radius and a Starbucks every 10 feet. You know the kind. It was like 2 days after Christmas. I was still bloated from leftover ham, and my little cousin had just left after staying at our place for like 4 days straight. I had a ton of time and zero interest in doing anything remotely productive. So I did what any mildly depressed, overstimulated guy in his early 20s does during a break. I stayed up till 4 a.m. watching conspiracy YouTube channels and scrolling TikTok in the background. But that night, I found something I shouldn't have. It started like this. I was watching this YouTuber I like, kind of a Luna type guy, chill voice, casual storytelling. He was breaking down this weird theory about a McDonald's in rural Nevada that supposedly only appears at certain times of night. The whole vibe was fun and weird, and I was about to fall asleep when the video just changed, like visibly changed, mid-sentence. He was talking about some tourist on Reddit who tried to visit this location, and then bam, the screen glitched. Not like buffering, not like lag. It was this sharp snap, and suddenly the screen was black for like a full 3 seconds. Then the video resumed, but it wasn't the YouTuber anymore. It was some dark room, like pitch black, except for a bit of red LED light coming from the side. It looked like it was being filmed on a phone, handheld, kinda shaky. I thought it was a jump scare, or maybe the video got hacked. It's YouTube. Weird stuff happens sometimes, but this didn't feel like a prank. It felt like someone showing something they weren't supposed to. There was a desk, just a plain IKEA-looking desk, and a laptop was open on it, but angled weirdly so you couldn't see the screen. I could hear breathing, like legit, heavy, ragged breathing. Not faked, not acted. Whoever was filming, they were terrified. Then a voice came through, but it wasn't in English. It sounded Eastern European, maybe. The mic was garbage, so it was hard to tell, but it was low, gravelly, almost wet sounding. The way someone talks through their teeth after they've been screaming. I kept waiting for the YouTube player to crash or the real video to come back, but it didn't. It played for like 2 minutes, and then, I swear to God, the camera tilted and a man stepped into frame, dressed in full black. Black coat, black hat, black gloves, even black shoes. His face was, I can't even explain it. It wasn't covered, but it might as well have been. His face just didn't register. Like my brain didn't want to acknowledge it. You ever see those videos of faces being blurred in real time? It felt like that. except there was no blur. Just this void. Like if you stared long enough, your nose would start bleeding. He pointed at the laptop, then slowly looked up at the camera, and the video ended. Right there. No outro, no suggested videos, no comment section. Just a white screen with one line of text. The black arrives at the end. He is not on any side. Not yours. I didn't move. My body felt frozen, like I had seen something I wasn't supposed to see, and I wasn't sure if that was some weird internet art project or something worse. But here's the part that still messes with me. When I checked my YouTube history later that day, that video wasn't there. Even weirder, I couldn't find that YouTuber's channel anymore. Gone. Wiped. I tried typing in the keywords from the McDonald's ARG story, and all the search gave me were food reviews and mukbangs from like 2018. That night, someone followed me on Instagram. A blank account. No posts, no bio. Username was just random letters and numbers. With the profile picture, it was the man in black. Same coat, same hat. Just standing in the middle of what looked like a parking lot at night. Maybe a 7-Eleven or a Sheetz. You know, that blurry sodium light globe behind him. My stomach flipped. I blocked it instantly. Private profile. I didn't recognize the name, but something about it felt off. I mean, people do creepy stuff online all the time. Maybe someone hacked the video, or it was an elaborate prank. But the next morning, there was a file on my laptop. I don't even know how it got there. I didn't open it. Just seeing the name made me want to puke. blackarrival.log, and next to it, a shortcut I never installed. Tor browser. I didn't open the file right away. I stared at it for hours, just sitting there on my bed with my laptop open, the glow from the screen lighting up my room like some sick interrogation lamp. The file name didn't blink or move or do anything dramatic. It just existed, calm, patient, like it knew I'd get to it eventually. What really messed me up wasn't the file itself. It was the timestamp. It said the file had been created at 3:17 a.m. I checked my phone. I checked my Apple Watch. I checked my sleep app. At 3:17 a.m. I was asleep. Dead asleep. No browsing, no downloads, no movement. I hadn't even rolled over, and yet something had put that file on my computer while I wasn't conscious. I unplugged the Wi-Fi. I powered the laptop off. I actually went downstairs and unplugged the router like that was gonna magically fix whatever the hell this was. My mom asked me what I was doing, half awake, holding the router like it owed me money. I told her the internet was acting weird. She rolled her eyes and went back to bed. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I tried to convince myself I was being dramatic. Stress, lack of sleep, internet horror content frying my brain. I even laughed at myself while making coffee at Starbucks later that day, sitting there with my AirPods in, watching people walk in and out like normal humans, like nothing in the world was wrong. That's when my phone buzzed. A notification from an app I don't remember installing. Just a black square icon. No name. The message inside said, "You didn't watch." I dropped my phone. Like, actually dropped it. Barista looked at me like I was tweaking. I picked it up, hands shaking, heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. The app was gone. No notification history. No app. Nothing. I went home. I locked my door. I plugged the router back in because apparently I'm stupid or curious or both. Then I turned my laptop on. The file was still there. blackarrival.log. This time, there were 3 files inside. One was text. One was video. The third, I don't even know what it was. The icon was broken, just a white square with a red X through it. I opened the text file first. It was short, too short. No intro, no explanation, just a list. Coordinates, times, locations. I recognized some of them immediately. A McDonald's in Sao Paulo, a subway station in Berlin, a Walmart parking lot in Ohio, a Starbucks near Shibuya Crossing. Next to each one was a time, always late, always between midnight and 4 a.m., and next to some of them, the word end. My mouth went dry. I googled one of the locations with the timestamp. It took me a while, but I found a local news article. Small site, barely any traffic. Headline said something like, unidentified incident under investigation. No details, no names, just that someone was found dead. No witnesses, no suspects, no cause they could officially release. I scrolled. At the bottom of the article, someone had left a comment. He was already there when it was over. I slammed the laptop shut. I wish I could say I stopped there. I wish I could say I called the cops, or wiped my hard drive, or threw the laptop in the lake. But something had its hooks in me by then. A deep, ugly curiosity mixed with pure terror. I opened the video. It started shaky, like someone was running. You could hear footsteps slapping against concrete, heavy breathing, a woman crying somewhere in the distance. The camera swung wildly, catching flashes of fluorescent lights, metal doors, a yellow "Caution Wet Floor" sign. It looked like the inside of a late-night McDonald's. Empty, chairs up. That dead quiet you only get when a place is supposed to be open but somehow feels abandoned. Then the camera stopped. The person filming whispered something like, "He's here," in a voice so quiet it barely registered. That's when I saw him. Not close, not dramatic, just standing there, near the counter, still as a mannequin. Same black coat, same hat, same wrongness. A man ran into frame from the left. I could tell he was panicking. His hands were bloody, not dripping, but smeared, like he tried to wipe them on his jeans and failed. He tripped, fell hard. The man in black didn't move, didn't chase, didn't speak. The guy on the floor started screaming. Not words, just sound. Raw, animal fear. He crawled backward until his back hit the counter. The lights flickered. And then, this is the part I can't forget. The man in black stepped forward. Not fast, not slow, just inevitable. The camera dropped. You couldn't see anything after that. Just the floor tiles and the sound. God, the sound. Not gore, not screaming. Just this wet, dull thump over and over, like something heavy being set down again and again. Then silence. The camera was picked up. The man in black leaned down. For the first time, his face was close enough to almost see. Almost. And he looked directly into the lens. The video cut to black. My reflection stared back at me from the screen, except it wasn't quite right. The third file opened on its own. It was another video. Security camera footage. A bedroom. My bedroom. The timestamp said tonight, and I was asleep in the bed. The camera angle was from the corner of the ceiling. Something moved near the door. Tall, black, standing completely still, watching. And right before I slammed the laptop shut, the figure tilted its head, like it knew I was awake now, like it had been waiting for me to notice. I checked my door. Locked, but the hallway light was on. I don't remember turning it on. My phone buzzed again. This time, the message stayed. Not yet. You're later. I haven't slept since. And I keep seeing him. Not chasing me. Not threatening. Just showing up at places that feel like the end of something. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to drive out of town. I don't know why, but the coordinates updated. And one of them? It's uncomfortably close to where I'll be. I didn't pack a bag. That's the first thing that scares me when I think back on it. I didn't pack clothes, didn't grab toiletries, didn't even bring my charger. I just grabbed my keys and my phone and walked out of the house like someone else had already decided what I was doing next. The coordinates from the file burned in my head even though I never wrote them down. Somewhere off the interstate, middle of nowhere. One of those places Google Maps doesn't bother showing street names for. Just long gray lines cutting through nothing. I told myself I was leaving town to clear my head, that I was being proactive, that if I kept moving, whatever this was couldn't catch up. That's not how it works. The drive felt wrong almost immediately, not creepy wrong. More like reality had slipped half an inch to the left and nobody bothered to correct it. Traffic lights stayed green too long. Billboards repeated themselves. I passed the same rusted pickup truck 3 times, each time in a different lane. My phone had signal the whole time, but no notifications, no texts, no Instagram, no TikTok. It was like the internet had decided I didn't exist for a while. I stopped at a gas station just outside the city. One of those big, brightly lit ones, with a subway inside and a wall of energy drinks that all looked like they were designed by the same sleep-deprived demon. The place was empty except for the cashier. He was watching something on his phone and laughing to himself. Loud, sharp laughs, the kind that don't quite match what someone's watching. I set my keys on the counter. He didn't look up. "Pump 3, I said. He nodded without breaking eye contact with his screen. I glanced down as he tapped his phone to ring me up. On his screen was a paused video, security camera footage, a bedroom, my bedroom. I froze. The cashier noticed. His smile dropped instantly, like someone had flipped a switch. He finally looked up at me, eyes bloodshot, pupils huge. "You're late," he said. I grabbed my keys and walked out. I didn't even look back. I didn't pump gas. I didn't care. I got in my car and drove until my hands went numb on the steering wheel. The coordinates led me off the highway eventually, onto a road so narrow it felt like the trees were leaning in to listen. No houses, no streetlights, just darkness and the occasional reflectors blinking like dead eyes in my headlights. Then my phone buzzed. No notification banner, just vibration. The screen lit up with a video player. I hadn't tapped anything. The video showed the road ahead of me. Not a recording, a live feed. Same angle, same speed, same slight drift to the right I do when I'm tired. I slammed the brakes. The feed didn't stop. In the video, the car kept driving. I watched myself disappear into the dark. The screen switched to another camera. A fast food parking lot. Empty. Trash skittering across the pavement in the wind. The man in black stood near the dumpsters, waiting. The video ended. My phone cracked in my grip. I don't remember squeezing it that hard. I turned the car around. I didn't care where I was going anymore. Back felt better than forward. Forward felt final. But the road didn't change. I drove for 40 minutes and passed the same fallen tree 3 times. Same bent guardrail. Same roadkill, bloated and wrong, like it had been there for weeks, but still looked fresh. I realized something then. I wasn't lost. I was being kept. The car radio clicked on by itself. Static at first, then a voice. Not music, not a station, just someone breathing, slow and close to the mic. then words. They always think movement saves them. The road opened up into a clearing, a parking lot, a closed restaurant. The sign was half lit, flickering, letters missing. You could tell what it used to be without trying too hard. The kind of place families stop on road trips. The kind of place nobody remembers after they leave. My car stalled. The engine died like it had been waiting for permission. I sat there, heart pounding, listening to the ticking of the cooling hood. The smell of oil and dust filled the car. That's when I noticed the other vehicles, at least 6 of them, parked crooked, doors open. One had its hazard lights still blinking, slow and patient. Phones were scattered on the ground, some cracked, some still glowing. Every single screen showed the same image, a man in black, standing behind the camera. I locked the doors. The knock came anyway, soft, polite, from the back seat. I didn't turn around. The voice was close now, not through speakers, not through a phone, right behind me. "You weren't first," it said. "You won't be lost." The pressure in the car changed, like the air got heavier, like something big had leaned in. I screamed and slammed the gas. The car lurched forward, coughing back to life, and tore out of the lot, tires screaming against asphalt that suddenly existed again. I didn't stop driving until sunrise. I ended up in a city I didn't recognize, sitting in a McDonald's parking lot, with people going in and out like nothing was wrong. Kids laughing, a delivery truck backing up. Normal life. I checked my phone. One new file. Arrival pending .mp4. I haven't opened it yet, but my reflection in the black screen, it's smiling, and behind me, there's someone standing very still. I didn't go inside the McDonald's. That feels important to say. Like if I write it clearly enough, it might still matter. I stayed in my car, engine idling, hands shaking so badly my knuckles hurt. People walked past my window without looking at me. A dad holding a Happy Meal box. A woman scrolling her phone, laughing at something on TikTok. Someone in a delivery uniform complaining loudly on FaceTime. Normal, loud, alive. And still, I felt like a corpse parked among them. I checked the mirrors, front, sides, back, nothing. The smiling reflection was gone. Just my own face now, pale, eyes sunken, lips dry and cracked, like I'd been screaming in my sleep for days. I told myself that meant something, that it meant I was safe, or at least paused. The file was still there on my phone. Arrival pending .mp4. I didn't open it. I walked into the restaurant instead, like a coward trying to drown terror in fluorescent lighting and greasy food smells. The air inside was thick with oil and sugar. The floors were sticky. A kid was crying over a dropped milkshake near the counter. Someone argued about their order number. I stood there, breathing too fast, trying to sink myself back to the rhythm of normal life. I ordered coffee, black, burnt, hot enough to hurt. The girl at the register handed it to me without making eye contact. Her name tag said, Emily. Her hands were shaking, just a little, enough to notice if you were already looking for cracks. "You okay?" I asked her. She flinched. Her eyes snapped up to mine, wide and wet, like she'd been caught doing something illegal. "He came last night," she whispered. I didn't ask who. I didn't need to. She slid a receipt across the counter toward me. Not my receipt. Another one. Old, crumpled, browned with age. On the back, written in shaky pen, were numbers, coordinates. Under them, 3 words. "It ends here." A manager shouted something from the back. Emily straightened instantly, like a puppet yanked by strings. "Have a nice day," she said loudly, too loudly, smiling with her mouth, but not her eyes. I left. I didn't drive far, just enough to get off the main road. I pulled into a grocery store parking lot and sat there, watching the sliding doors open and close. Every time they did, my chest tightened, like I was expecting him to walk out carrying a bag of groceries and a receipt. I unfolded the receipt. The coordinates matched a place not far from there, a building marked on Google Maps as temporarily closed. No photos, no reviews newer than 3 years, just a vague gray square and a name that didn't tell you anything. I didn't want to go. I went anyway. The building looked like it had been abandoned in a hurry. Windows intact, but dusty. Doors chained, but not locked properly, like whoever closed it thought they'd be back soon. A faded mural on one wall showed smiling cartoon characters doing things that were supposed to feel wholesome. I parked across the street. I watched. Minutes passed, then an hour. The sun dipped low, painting everything orange and sickly sweet. Long shadows stretched across the lot, and I realized something horrifying. None of the shadows matched. They all leaned the same direction, except one. I felt it before I saw it. That pressure again, that sense of being observed by something that didn't blink. He stood at the edge of the lot, not emerging, not approaching, just there. Cars passed behind him. People walked right through where he should have been standing, like he wasn't real, like he was only visible to me. My phone buzzed. The file opened itself. The video showed the inside of the building. Dusty hallways, peeling paint, old posters curling off the walls. The camera moved smoothly, calmly, like whoever held it wasn't afraid at all. Then the camera stopped. It turned, and I saw myself. Not a recording, not a reflection. Me, standing in the hallway, staring directly at the lens. My mouth moved in sync with the audio that came next. "You came anyway." I dropped the phone. When I picked it back up, the video was gone. The building door creaked open. I don't remember crossing the street. I don't remember touching the chain. I only remember being inside, the air stale and cold, smelling faintly of mold and something metallic. Footsteps echoed ahead of me, slow, measured, not chasing, leading. The hallway opened into a wide room, old dining area, tables stacked, chairs overturned. In the center of the floor was a circle drawn in black marker. Phones lay around it, dozens of them, different models, different cases, some cracked, some pristine, all playing videos, different places, different people, different endings. I recognized faces from news articles, from missing person posters I'd scrolled past without stopping, from videos that had gone viral for the wrong reasons and then quietly disappeared. Every screen showed him, always at the edge, always arriving. My phone vibrated one last time. A message appeared. "You understand now." Behind me, the footsteps stopped. I didn't turn around. I didn't need to. The air felt complete, finished, like a sentence with a period at the end. I think the worst part, the thing that keeps my hand shaking as I type this, is realizing he doesn't hunt. He waits. He doesn't choose sides. He just shows up when everything else is already broken. And I'm starting to understand why my name was in the file. I don't remember leaving the building. There's no gap in my memory, no blackout, no clean cut, where I can say this is where things stopped making sense. It's worse than that. It's like my mind refuses to label the moment as important, the same way you don't remember every step you take on a staircase you've used your whole life. 1 second, I was standing in that wide room with the circle on the floor and the phones whispering endings to themselves. The next, I was sitting on a city bus, daytime, rush hour, someone's backpack pressed into my knee, an old man arguing with the driver about exact change, a girl filming a Snapchat with a dog face filter, laughing like the world had never once been cruel to her. I checked my hands. No blood, no dirt, no signs of struggle. My phone was in my pocket. Normal. Too normal. I got off at a stop I recognized. A place I'd been 100 times before. Grocery store on one corner. Gym on the other. A billboard advertising a movie coming out next month. Smiling faces. Bright colors. Nothing that suggested anything was wrong. And that's when I realized the scariest thing of all. Nobody was looking at me. Not with curiosity. Not with concern. Not even with annoyance. I was invisible in the most human way possible. I walked home. The front door was unlocked. Inside, everything was exactly how I'd left it. Shoes by the door. A half-empty glass on the counter. My laptop closed on my desk like a loyal dog waiting for me to return. I stood there for a long time, listening. No footsteps, no breathing, no presence pressing against the air. Just quiet. I checked the laptop. No Tor browser, no strange files, no logs, no evidence that any of it had ever happened, except one thing, my browser history. Hundreds of searches I never remembered making. Missing persons, closed cases, late-night incidents with no suspects, videos that had been removed, articles scrubbed down to nothing but headlines and apologies, and woven through all of it, like a fingerprint smeared across the glass of the internet, mentions of a man in black, different names, different languages, same description, always arriving, never staying, never leaving. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt that sense of completion, like something had already reached the end of its process and was just waiting for me to catch up. Around 3 a.m., my phone lit up. One notification from Reddit. A new message. No username. Just a link. I stared at it for a long time before tapping. It opened a post on this very subreddit. No comments. No upvotes. Posted minutes ago. The title stopped my heart. I think something followed me home. The post was short, written in a panicked, rambling style I recognized too well. They described a video, a file that appeared without permission, a man who showed up when things were already over. At the bottom of the post was a sentence that made my vision blur. If anyone sees this, please tell me how to stop him from arriving. I refreshed the page. The post was gone. So was the account. I opened my camera app without meaning to. The front-facing camera showed my face. Exhausted, haunted, alive. Behind me, in the dark of my room, nothing. I exhaled for the first time in what felt like days. And that's when I understood. He doesn't follow people. He follows endings. Moments where something has already crossed a line it can't uncross. A choice made. A door closed. A truth realized too late. He wasn't coming for me. He had already been there. The phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't a message. It was a reminder, scheduled months ago, for a date I don't remember setting. The title read, Arrival. The location was already filled in. Not a building, not a city, just coordinates. Right where I was standing. I don't know why I'm allowed to write this. I don't know if posting it changes anything. But I do know this. If you ever find a video that wasn't there yesterday, a file that knows your schedule better than you do, or a man in black standing calmly where something has just ended, Don't try to run. Don't try to understand. And whatever you do, don't look for the end, because he doesn't arrive at places. He arrives at people. And if you're reading this, feeling that cold, quiet certainty settle in your chest, then I'm sorry. It means he's already finished with me, and he's waiting for you. Short recap. The man in black arrives at the end. So, this all started when our narrator, just your average college guy on winter break, stumbled on a weird YouTube video late one night. It glitched mid-play and cut to a disturbing handheld recording of a shadowy figure, a man in black, standing silently beside a laptop. No face, no expression, just wrong. And then it ended with a single chilling message. The black arrives at the end. He's not on any side, not yours. After that thing spiraled fast, a file appeared on his laptop by itself. blackarrival.log. Inside it were creepy video clips and a list of real-world coordinates tied to unsolved murders and disappearances around the world, from Walmart parking lots to Tokyo Starbucks. One video even showed someone who looked exactly like him, and another showed him sleeping, filmed from the corner of his ceiling. Then his phone started buzzing, not with texts, but with apps he never installed, files that played themselves, and messages like, "You didn't watch." "Not yet. You're later." Eventually, he got in his car and followed the coordinates, like the file wanted him to. On the road, time bent, GPS glitched, people looked off. A gas station cashier was watching live footage of the narrator's own bedroom, and when he stopped at a dead fast food joint, he felt it. The man in black, standing in the lot, unmoving, watching. He ran, but the road never changed. He realized he wasn't lost, he was being kept. Then came the realization: the man in black doesn't chase. He waits, and only shows up when everything else is already over. He isn't death. He's not punishment. He's completion. He's what comes after the worst moment of your life. The narrator returns home, but things are too normal. All the videos and files are gone, but his browser history is now filled with searches he never made, people who vanished, stories that match his too perfectly. Finally, his phone reminds him of a calendar event set months ago. Arrival, and the location, right where he's standing. So yeah, if you ever see a man in black just standing there when something feels wrong, not chasing, not speaking, it's already too late. He doesn't hunt. He just arrives at the end. I found a dark web page that explains why some people don't come back from the internet. Yo, so this is gonna sound completely insane, and honestly, if someone posted this on here a year ago, I would have laughed and scrolled. But I swear to God, everything I'm about to tell you is real. This started as a late night curiosity binge and ended up ruining my life in a way I don't think I'll ever come back from. Let me set the scene. It was summer, like mid-July. I'd just turned 20, living in a small but comfy apartment in Cincinnati, Ohio, working night shifts at this half-dead 24-hour McDonald's off Montgomery Road. Life was boring, routine, sleep, work, scroll, repeat. I wasn't a hacker or anything. I'm not one of those genius-level dark web guys in hoodies with 6 monitors and glowing keyboards. I'm just a regular dude with too much time and Wi-Fi. It all started on Reddit, ironically enough. I was scrolling through r/deep web an r/hidden internet just for laughs, reading about urban legends, red rooms, black sites, all that freaky stuff people swear exists, but no one's actually seen. That night, I was in one of those rabbit hole moods. You know the kind. 3 a.m., lights off, blue glow on your face, sipping a warm-ass Red Bull, and nothing good is gonna come from what you're doing. I found a post titled, "They don't come back because they were never supposed to find it." Creepy, right? It only had like 12 upvotes, and the comments were disabled, which was weird. The OP's account had been deleted, but there was a link. Not an onion link either, just a weird URL like www.intrastate-archive.site/ashroomgate. And yeah, I clicked it. The page loaded in pieces, like an old school site from the early 2000s. Gray background, jittery text, no images, just a blinking cursor in the middle. No buttons, nothing to interact with. But the cursor started typing on its own. "Welcome. You are not lost. You are early." I remember actually laughing a little, like it was some dumb ARG or whatever. But then I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The screen reflected something in my webcam, like a flash of movement. I froze, then minimized the window, and yeah, my webcam was on. That little green dot, man. I hadn't used it in weeks. I clicked my camera app, but it showed just black, like something was covering it. Still on though. I closed everything, restarted my laptop. Honestly, I should have stopped there, but I didn't. Instead, I went to Twitter and typed out a dumb post like, "Okay, that was the creepiest link I've ever clicked, WTF, LMRO. Didn't even tag anything, just vibing." Not even 10 minutes later, I get a reply from an account with no profile pic, 0 followers, following no one. Handle was something like @your_found it backward. It just said, "You didn't laugh when the mirror cracked." I swear I hadn't posted anything about mirrors. That's when I remembered something insane. When I was reading that weird page, I had this cheap, full-length mirror from Walmart leaning against my closet. The mirror had a hairline crack in the corner ever since I moved in, barely noticeable. But I looked up, and I shit you not, the crack was gone. Light clean, no mark, as if the mirror had uncracked. My brain was spiraling. I was freaking out, pacing, checking everything. I even FaceTimed my friend Matt just to feel normal again. I told him the basics, not the whole deep web thing, just that my webcam turned on by itself, and something typed on my screen. Dude joked that I'd been watching too many Loey Lane videos, and told me to go to bed. But that night, the dream started. I was standing in my bedroom, but it wasn't mine. Everything was reversed, like mirrored. Posters flipped, furniture on the wrong side. The cracked mirror was in the center of the room, hanging from the ceiling by wires like a puppet. And I was looking at myself, but not me. It was like if I was pixelated, blurry and twitching, and the dream me was smiling with too many teeth. It raised its hand, and blood started pouring from the mirrored ceiling. I woke up with my nose bleeding. Never had a nosebleed in my life. Here's the real kicker. My mirror, the real one in my room, was cracked again, but now the crack was jagged and stretched across the middle, like something inside had tried to claw its way out. I deleted my tweet, blocked the creepy Twitter account, but it didn't matter, because when I opened Instagram the next day, my explore feed was filled with broken glass, not even metaphorically, like actual broken mirrors, shattered phones, car crashes. It was all I could see. Every scroll, another reflection. I posted a story saying, anyone else's IG bugged with gloss pics? And within minutes, I got a DM from someone named refraction.chamber. The message said, "You're invited." Attached was a video, just static at first. Then a Starbucks, I think in Times Square, recognizable by the billboard flashing in the background. The camera zoomed into the cafe window, and for a second, just a blink, you can see someone that looks exactly like me. Same shirt I wore the night before, same hair, same scar on my eyebrow, except the guy in the video was sitting across from a version of Matt, but his eyes were black, just black. I paused the video and checked the timestamp. Live now. I called Matt in a full panic. He answered groggy, like he'd just woken up, swore he hadn't left Cincinnati, let alone been in New York. I told him to FaceTime me. He did. He looked normal, but the more we talked, the more it felt off, like he was too calm. I asked him something only the real Matt would know. What song was playing when we almost got arrested for skateboarding at Jungle Gym's parking lot? He said, "Don't stop me now." That was wrong. It was Feel Good Inc. I hung up. The real Matt would never forget that. He screamed that chorus through a Burger King drive-through window. It was our core memory. That was when I started recording everything, documenting it all. If you're reading this, I'll be posting more parts soon, because I think something came through the mirror, and it's not done yet. It started following me on TikTok. I didn't post anything, didn't say a word about what happened after that video. I didn't even breathe online, but the algorithm knew. The For You page was different. People's eyes in videos lingered too long. Influencers' smiles flickered for a second, like someone else was behind the camera, whispering a script they didn't want to read. Every third or fourth video would stutter, the screen tearing just slightly, and then that same message would flash for exactly one frame. "You're not where you think you are." I paused, screen recorded, zoomed. It was embedded in the data, not the content. Like the code was infected, like the app itself was trying to speak, or scream. That same day, I came home from work to find my apartment door slightly cracked open. Not forced, not broken, just open. My stomach dropped. I stood in the hall outside my place for 10 minutes, barely breathing, heart pounding in my neck. I dialed Matt again. This time, he didn't pick up. Instead, I heard a voicemail that wasn't mine. "You reached the hollow copy. Please hold your eyes open for the next 30 seconds. The truth is photosensitive." Then silence. I hung up and kicked my own door open with a shaky foot. I was expecting a robbery, a raccoon, a pissed-off landlord, but it was empty, everything untouched, except for the bathroom. Every mirror was gone, not broken, gone. The big one over the sink, the little one on my medicine cabinet, even the piece of shit pocket mirror I used to pop zits, vanished. In their place, all taped or nailed to the walls with surgical precision, were Polaroids. Hundreds. Photos of me, sleeping, showering, eating. In one of them, I was brushing my teeth. In another, I was on the toilet, face down in my phone. There was one where I was screaming, but I don't remember ever doing that. I looked, contorted, animal, like I was trying to peel my skin off. My knees buckled. I nearly threw up right there in the sink. Each photo had a tiny handwritten caption. Names, I think. Not mine. Stuff like Refraction 62, A, Mimic _ Host 014, Recovered Hostile, Scratched, Copy Stabilized, Awake Awake Awake. I grabbed a random handful and stuffed them in my hoodie pocket, not thinking, just reacting. Then I ran. I stayed at a 24-hour Planet Fitness that night, left the lights on in the bathroom stall, and pretended to be asleep on the floor. People probably thought I was on meth, but it wasn't drugs. It wasn't paranoia. It was real. Because that same night, something started using my accounts. I checked Snapchat at 3 a.m. and there was a new story posted from my account. Video of me standing in the hallway of my own apartment, looking directly at the camera, blinking once every 10 seconds like a fucking animatronic. No expression, just watching. Caption read, "Do you see what I see?" I lost it. Straight up. Smashed my phone on the locker room floor and screamed. Some poor guy at the water fountain bolted out of there like I was about to explode. That was just the beginning. Instagram DMs flooded in, not from my friends, from strangers, teenagers, old people, bots. I don't even know. Every message was the same, word for word. "You're the original. How does it feel?" They started tagging me in videos. Not normal videos either. Deepfakes, AI nightmares. One of them showed me walking down a beach in Croatia. I've never left the country in my life. But it was me. My walk. My gait. The scar on my left ankle. From that summer, I fell off the fence at Kings Island. But the version of me in the video had no shadow. People started liking the video, commenting things like, "Bro, you were literally in Rio yesterday. Wait, I just saw you at LAX. You've been in my dreams every night. You said not to trust the guy at the food court." I hadn't slept in 36 hours. I went back to my apartment with a hammer and pepper spray in my backpack. I didn't care anymore. I was done hiding. I needed to see it, whatever it was. But the second I stepped through the door, the lights died. All of them. Not even a flicker. I turned on my flashlight. The air was heavy, smelled like rotten fruit and copper. I swept the beam across the living room and nearly dropped the light when it landed on the mirror. The mirror that had vanished was back, standing in the middle of the floor, freestanding, but it wasn't reflecting me. It was showing my back from behind, like I was being watched from the inside. Then it started to move. Not the glass, the reflection. It took one slow step forward. I didn't. Its hands twitched. It smiled. Its mouth began to open, slowly, like it was being unzipped. It didn't stop at the jaw. It kept going. Neck, chest, torso. The skin peeled open like meat curtains, revealing a mass of teeth. Not where the organs should be. Just teeth. Rows and rows, spiraling inward like a drain to hell. I ran. I left everything. I moved in with my cousin an hour outside the city. Didn't bring clothes. Didn't bring my ID. Deleted all my accounts. Burned the photos in his backyard grill. But it wasn't over. Because last night, I was scrolling through YouTube. Just trying to numb the noise, right? Dumb reaction vids, clips from podcasts. Then, autoplay kicks in and loads this channel I've never subscribed to. Channel name was Hollow Reel. Only one video. Title, You're Next. Thumbnail was me. My actual face, clear as day, but warped, like it had been printed and rescanned 50 times, each one less human. I played the video. It was silent for a full minute, just static in that image. Then it cut to a hospital hallway, flickering lights, metal doors. A man walks down the corridor in a hospital gown, bald, emaciated, arms hanging loose like a puppet. When he turns to the camera, it's me, but blind. His eyes are seared black, like they'd been torched out. But he's smiling, That same twitching smile. He stops walking and points at the screen, at me. And then he whispers, just loud enough that I could hear it, with headphones turned all the way up. You were copied because you looked easy. Then the video glitches into chaos, screaming, shattered glass, a heartbeat sound. At 3:33 timestamp, the video ends with a still frame of my apartment window, except there's someone standing in it, watching, waiting. And that window? It's from this house, my cousin's place, where I'm writing this now, and he's been asleep for 2 hours. But someone just rang the doorbell. If you still think this is a game, you haven't looked in the mirror long enough. The doorbell rang again. Not a polite chime, not a quick press. It was held down, long and steady, like someone wanted the sound to sink into the walls. My cousin's house was dead quiet otherwise. No TV, no fan, no traffic outside. Just that single note drilling into my skull. I didn't move at first. I was standing in the guest bedroom, laptop open on the bed, fingers hovering over the keys, rereading the last sentence I'd typed, like it might change if I stared long enough. The YouTube video was still paused in another tab. I hadn't closed it. I didn't want to. Closing it felt like blinking during a magic trick, like I'd missed the part where everything goes wrong. The doorbell stopped. Then there was a knock. 3 slow knocks, perfectly spaced, too calm. Whoever was on the other side wasn't in a hurry. They knew they were going to be let in, one way or another. I crept down the hallway, every floorboard screaming under my weight. My cousin's bedroom door was shut. I could hear him snoring, deep and steady, like nothing in the world could touch him. I almost woke him up. Almost. But I didn't. I don't know why. Some instinct told me that if he saw what I was about to see, it wouldn't just be my problem anymore. And I couldn't do that to him. Not yet. I peeked through the peephole. There was no one there. Just the porch light flickering and the empty driveway. No car, no shadow, nothing. I exhaled, shaky, embarrassed at myself. That was when my phone vibrated in my pocket. A notification. Ring doorbell app. Motion detected. Front door. I opened it. The camera feed showed the porch. Same empty scene I'd just seen with my own eyes. But the timestamp was wrong. It read 14 minutes ago. And in the corner of the screen, barely visible, was a reflection in the glass of the front door. Someone standing inside the house, behind the camera, behind me. I spun around so fast, I slammed into the wall. The hallway was empty. No footsteps, no breathing. Just me, shaking, heart hammering so hard I thought I might pass out. My phone buzzed again. Unknown sender. No number. No name. You shouldn't look at delays. I dropped the phone like it burned me. That was the moment something in me cracked. Not fear. Something colder, sharper, like the part of my brain that believed in rules and cause and effect, just gave up and walked out. I packed my bag in silence. Laptop, charger, wallet, hoodie. I didn't bother being careful. I didn't bother leaving a note. I left the house through the back door, barefoot, and walked until my feet were numb and my thoughts stopped racing. I ended up at a 24-hour Walmart on the edge of town. Bright lights, people everywhere, cameras on every corner. If something tried anything here, someone would see it. That was the logic I clung to. I sat in the McDonald's inside the Walmart. Hard plastic booth, sticky table, smell of old fries, and opened my laptop. I needed answers, not theories, not creepypasta garbage. Real information. I went back to the deep web. Same browser, same setup, different mindset. I wasn't curious anymore. I was hunting. It didn't take long. The page loaded instantly this time, like it had been waiting. No blinking cursor, no introduction, just a title. Interstate Archive. Human Reflection. Project. Below it, a list. Hundreds of entries, dates, locations, status reports. I scrolled until my hands went numb. Subject 014. Cincinnati, Ohio. Copy stable. Original unaware. Subject 031. São Paulo, Brazil. Original replaced. Family compliant. Subject 044. Seoul, South Korea. Original disposed. No digital trace. Subject 062. Orlando, Florida. Original disposed. No digital trace. FL. Theme park incident. Witnesses neutralized. Neutralized. That word showed up a lot. I searched my name. No results. I searched my birthday, my email, my old username from middle school. Still nothing. Then I searched my IP address. One result popped up. Subject 063. Status unresolved. I clicked it. A single paragraph filled the screen. Some originals resist synchronization. These subjects experience heightened awareness, paranoia, and identity fracture. Termination is preferred, but not always possible. In rare cases, originals may observe their copies operating independently across platforms and locations. This is not a malfunction. This is proof of compatibility. My vision blurred. The Walmart around me faded into background noise. Crying kid, beeping registers, someone arguing over coupons. I kept reading. If you are reading this and believe it applies to you, you are correct. You are not targeted by chance. You were selected because your absence would not be questioned for long. I slammed the laptop shut. Someone sat down across from me. I didn't hear them approach, didn't see them slide into the booth. They were just suddenly there. Same face, my face, same hoodie, same posture, same scar, even the little nervous twitch in the left eye. Up close though, it was wrong. The smile was practiced. The eyes were too focused, like a camera locking onto a subject. Relax, it said. My voice, slightly flatter. This place is loud. No one listens. I couldn't speak. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. It tilted its head, studying me. You lasted longer than most. That's impressive. Usually they spiral. You adapted. What are you? I finally managed. It smiled wider. I'm what happens when you're easier to upload than to remember. It slid something across the table. My driver's license. Not a copy. Not a fake. The real one. Your cousin's asleep, it added casually. For now. Don't worry. We're not monsters. We just continue. I stood up so fast the booth rattled. People looked over. The thing across from me didn't move. Sit down, it said quietly. If you make a scene, you disappear messy. If you cooperate, you disappear clean. That word again. Disappear. I looked around. Cameras, people, bright lights. None of it mattered. Because when I glanced back at the booth, it was empty. No doppelganger. No license. Nothing. My phone buzzed. A calendar notification I didn't create. Event. Added. Account transfer. 48 hours. Location. Everywhere. I'm writing this from a bus station now. I don't know where I'm going. I don't think it matters. I can feel it sinking. Memories slipping. Thoughts repeating. Like my brain is buffering. Sometimes I catch my reflection in the glass, and it smiles before I do. If I stop posting, if this account goes quiet, don't assume I gave up. Assume I was replaced. And whatever is wearing my name now, don't trust it. The bus didn't have a destination displayed. That should have been my first clue. It was one of those long-distance Greyhound-style buses, cracked vinyl seats, faint smell of piss and burnt coffee, the kind that feels like it's always night inside, no matter what time it is outside. I don't remember buying a ticket. I don't remember showing ID. I just remember sitting down, clutching my backpack, and realizing every single other passenger was staring straight ahead like mannequins waiting for a store to close. No phones, no talking, no blinking. I checked mine, battery at 87%, no signal, no service bars, just the time ticking forward like normal, mocking me. We drove for hours, maybe days. The window showed places I recognized for half a second. Gas stations, strip malls, a Starbucks I swear I'd seen off I-75 once. Then the scenery would skip, like a corrupted video file, and suddenly we'd be somewhere else. Desert, snow, rain-soaked city streets, with neon signs in languages I couldn't read. Every time I tried to stand up, the bus lurched violently, throwing me back into my seat. No driver in sight. The wheel turned on its own. Eventually, the bus slowed. It stopped in front of a building that didn't belong anywhere. It looked like an abandoned mall fused with a hospital. Wide glass entrance, rusted automatic doors hanging half open, fluorescent lights flickering behind dusty windows. Above the entrance was a sign with no letters, just empty metal brackets, like something had been ripped off recently. The doors hissed open. Everyone stood up at once. No hesitation, no confusion. They filed out in perfect silence, single line, disappearing into the building. When I stayed seated, my head started to ring. Not a sound, pressure, like my skull was being gently squeezed from the inside. I followed. Inside, the air was freezing, too clean, bleach and something sweet underneath, like rotten flowers. The lobby was massive, with escalators that went up into darkness and hallways branching off in every direction. Flat screens lined the walls, all playing muted footage. I recognized the videos, traffic cams, mall security feeds, school hallways, fast food kitchens, real places, real time. Every screen showed a person pausing mid-motion, turning their head slightly, and smiling at the camera. A woman in a Target aisle, a kid at a McDonald's play place, a guy washing his hands in an airport bathroom, all of them smiling like they'd just been told a joke only they understood. A voice echoed through the lobby, not loud, calm, professional. Unresolved subjects, please proceed to processing. The word processing made my stomach twist. The crowd split. Running makes it more interesting, he added. I ran. The corridors twisted. Stairwells led nowhere. Elevators opened onto the same hallway. Every reflective surface showed him. The copy, walking calmly, unhurried, always a few steps behind. My phone buzzed. Service. One notification. New login detected. All accounts. I checked Instagram. A live video. Thousands watching. It was me, sitting comfortably somewhere bright and familiar, laughing, relaxed, telling a story about taking a break from the internet and starting fresh. Comments flooded in with hearts and smiley faces. People loved him. I slammed my phone against the wall. It didn't break. The screen just showed my reflection smiling back at me, blood trickling from my nose. I finally burst through an emergency exit. Outside, night air hit me like a slap. I was in a parking lot. Normal cars, normal sounds. A glowing sign across the street. McDonald's. Families inside. Kids laughing. Life continuing. I blended in, sat at a table, hands shaking so badly I spilled my drink. The TV above the counter played the news. Local man announces sudden move. Says he's Never felt better. Friends say he seems happier than ever. My face on the screen, smiling. I locked myself in the bathroom, stared into the mirror. This time, the reflection didn't lag. It raised its hand and pressed its palm flat against the glass from the other side. I felt it. Pressure. Heat. Like something alive trying to push through. The mirror cracked, and I heard sirens outside, coming for me. If this ends abruptly, if the account goes dark, you'll know why. They've infected the reading, the remembering, the witnessing. Every eye that sees these words, another mirror, another signal, another invitation, because that's what they are now. Invitations. And you opened it. You. Reading this at 2 a.m., lights off, phone glowing in your hand, thinking, no way this could be real. But you looked, you watched, and the door is now open. Check your reflection next time. Watch what it does before you do. Because one day soon, maybe tonight, you'll see it blink, or smile, or cry, and you'll realize too late, you're not the one looking. End transmission. The original has been overwritten. You may close the tab now, but the process has already started. Short recap. A regular guy with a boring night shift job stumbles on a creepy dead Reddit post with a weird link, and against his better judgment, clicks it. What follows is a digital descent into hell. Not the fun, stylized kind. The quiet, cold, almost real kind that starts small. A mirror in his room mysteriously uncracks. His webcam activates on its own. Strange Twitter replies reference things he never posted. His reflection starts acting independently. Dreams bleed into waking life. Nosebleeds. Time glitches. Polaroids of him taken from inside his own apartment. But it doesn't stop there. The internet starts reflecting versions of him, exact copies, on TikTok, Instagram, even live videos from cities he's never visited. People are seeing him, doppelgangers laughing, walking, talking like him, but they're wrong, off, too perfect, too present. He learns about the Intrastate Archive, a shadowy dark web project copying humans, replacing them across the world with synthetic smiling reflections. And the originals? They don't die. They vanish. Or worse, they watch, trapped, stalked by a version of himself that speaks in his voice and knows everything he forgot. Mirrors begin to act like portals, and every screen reflects not his face, but something wearing it. When he's finally taken into their facility, strapped down, and shown that his digital footprint, his low-impact life, made him perfect for replacement, he runs, only to find out he's already been replaced. He watches himself online, living a better life than he ever had. Friends, family, followers, no one notices. No one misses the real him, and no one will, because the process isn't done. It spreads. And now that you've read this story, they've seen you. You looked through the mirror. You opened the door. Next time you catch your reflection lag, or smile without you, don't blink, because it might not be you anymore. You're not the one looking. This story will stick with you. Maybe longer than you'd like, so go ahead, check the mirror. We await. Thanks for watching. Some stories end, others stay with you. Sleep well.